Okay, howdy everybody, Colorado Biker here, and I'm off for another walk. So today we're going to cover food again. Yes, I know, we've had several of these. I've covered short-term, normal stuff that you have in the house, and now we're going to move on to the long-term food storage. This is stuff that you're going to use for long-term storage. You're going to put away and just forget about it. So there's several different kinds. First of all, you have your dried foods. Okay, this is beans, this is rice, this is the stuff that you typically hear about, dehydrated foods, things like that. So you're going to want to have a good supply of that stuff on hand, and do a bit of variety. Get different types of rice, get different types of beans, get different types of vegetables, because that will really help out. A lot of the different veggies I get the dehydrated veggies from the Mormon cannery, from the Bishop Storehouse. Great place to get stuff, and you can just go in and buy it. You don't have to be a member of the church or anything. So, and they have number 10 cans. They got like carrots, onions, all the veggies that you're gonna want, so that you can have a variety. And they'll go with the beans and rice really well and give you some nutrients you wouldn't normally get. So I like black beans. I don't do pinto beans. They tend to go bad pretty quick. So I do black beans, navy beans, whole bunch of different ones. So, but pinto beans, they tend to go off a lot quicker. So I avoid the pintos. Now the other kind that you're gonna wanna get is, or the other item is, you're going to want canned goods. Okay, you're going to want to avoid the stuff that is acidic, because that tends to go bad the quickest unless it's in a good lined can. So you can get one and sample it and see if it's in a lined can, and then if it is, great, then you can get the acidic ones. If not, avoid them. So things like tomatoes, tomato sauces, tomato paste, stuff like that. If it's in a lined can, it has a much better chance of staying good for a long period of time. But you're going to want to get everything else canned as well, okay? And when you get canned, you want to try and avoid the heavily processed stuff, okay? The like cans of soup, things like that. The more processed it is, the less nutrients it has, the less good it's going to do you. I would just go for vegetables and meats. One that I get a lot of is like Dak canned ham. It's actually really tasty. It's really nice. Also fish, sardines, anchovies, stuff like that that's canned. That's really good. I like that. Those are really high in protein. They have some essential omega-3 oils that are really good for you, help you with calories and also with just overall health. So, and then in that same kind of category, it's canned, well, we call it canning, is stuff in jars, okay? Glass jars. Once again, glass jars are going to be probably your best storage, because glass is basically chemically neutral. So it's not going to go bad as quickly or anything like that. Once again, acidic is okay, especially in glass, because the acid is what reacts with the can, in a metal can, and makes it breach and go bad. But with glass, you have a much lower possibility of that, especially with the acidic goods. So go with glass jars, especially for the acidic stuff like tomato sauces, stuff like that. Excuse me. What I also mentioned was things that are stored in acids, okay, or brine. Brine can also do the same thing. The heavy salt brine is corrosive, okay, that'll eat through a metal can, but glass is much less susceptible to it. Okay, so pickles, olives, peppers, things like that, that's what you want to get in a glass jar. Sure, glass is breakable, so it's probably best to put that on the bottom shelf of your preps, or, you know, put it away somewhere where it's less prone to breaking. Okay, so but get canned goods. Canned goods is going to be very important to have as well. So you got your dried goods, and then you have your canned goods, okay, and dehydrated goes with the dried goods. And then you can also do the long-term freeze-dried foods, and this is stuff that's usually packed in Mylar bags, usually stuff like Mountain House or stuff like that. Backpacking food, that stuff will last forever as well. That's a really good long-term prep to have. It's not going to go bad for 20 years. It is a lot more expensive though, so you are going to have to think about that. So another good one that I like to do is carne seca, or dried beef, dried meats, but particularly dried beef. Not beef jerky. The commercial beef jerky that we have now has way too much moisture in it to make it palatable. Okay, you want carne seca, okay, which is basically just dried meat. And it should have almost no fat in it, because the fat will go rancid. But the dried meat, all you gotta do is, soak it in some water and it will rehydrate into regular meat. Great protein source. Okay, dried fish is another one. You can get a lot of that at Asian grocery stores. There's a lot of really good dried fish out there too. Same thing though, avoid the high fat content fish. Okay, that's pretty essential. So the less meat or the less oil that it has, the less chance it will go rancid. There's the school bus. The kids are coming home. All right. Anyway, so you've got all those. Another one is prepackaged, pre-prepared emergency meals. Okay, for long-term storage. This would be things like MREs. You can get MREs. They are more expensive. They are ready to eat, but they would be great for a bug out bag or get home bag, things like that. And they are good for long-term storage, fairly long-term. They don't last as long as some of the other stuff that'll have 20, 25-year shelf life, but they are good enough in the meantime. So, and of course you can rotate them out, take them camping, take them hunting, take them whenever you go out for a long period, or go out for a few days or something. Throw a couple in the car for emergencies, things like that. So MREs are nice. They're really high in calorie. They are pretty heavily processed, but they have to be. So you can get those. And let's take a look today. Ah, beautiful. You can see Pikes Peak way off in the distance again. Another beautiful day up here in the mountains, and the snow is melting fast. It's been a warm couple of days up here, and it's really warm today. Up here it's about 60 degrees. Denver's going to be almost 80 today. So but tomorrow we're supposed to be getting hit by a major snowstorm. So, well, somewhat major, not a huge snowstorm, but a big enough snowstorm nonetheless. So, all right, here's some of the neighbors. Yeah, and here comes the wind from that storm front coming in. Sorry for the wind, guys. Howdy. Ooh, yeah, lots of wind. Yep, that frontal boundary's getting close. Those prefrontal winds. Okay, and so let's get back on topic here. So the pre-made foods that you can get, like MREs. There goes another neighbor. The pre-made stuff like MREs are good. You can also get things like the emergency rations from, for like lifeboats, things like that. Those are emergency rations. They're meant to be for an emergency. Okay, they're not good nutrition. Basically they taste like a shortbread cookie, and there's not a lot of nutrition in them. They're mostly sugar and carbohydrates. They're just meant to keep you alive for a short term, not for long term. Okay, so but you can get them. They are good emergency rations. Once again, put them in a bug out bag. That's what I have in mind, along with other stuff. So, but they do taste good, and I have them in emergency kits in the cars and things like that, because it's just going to be a short-term emergency that I need them for. So but that's pretty much it on the long-term storage food. Also look at packaging the food properly, okay, using Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, desiccant packs, things like that. Vacuum sealing, learning how to dry can using your oven, and using glass jars with good lids, things like that. You can actually put away a lot of food that's going to last, you know, decades if you do it carefully. Okay, so that's about it on the foods. Next time, I think we're going to cover the other part of this, which is going to be having resources available to grow your own food in an emergency for a long term idea. And this means storing seeds, fertilizer, things like that. But that's it for the meantime. Until next time, remember, keep on prepping.